Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Roma Theory. Transfer news today, because we've got important news because apparently we've made big steps on the Ndicka front. We have really made big steps that a few days ago you probably have seen that kind of the image which went viral of Mourinho, which took a picture with Ndicka's agents. And now obviously this ownership and the way this ownership has been ruling Roma, it doesn't exclude any surprises, and these little hints now and then could become into reality very soon. We're here speaking about Ndicka. We're speaking about this image, this picture of Ndicka's agents at Trigoria with Mourinho, and then I'm gonna give my opinion on it. I know we spoke about Ndicka, but I think this is a step-by-step process which will lead to a potential signing. And then I also want to share a few words on a big problem this season, which has been referees. Because I've really looked at the highlights and the comments of yesterday's game, and there were two clear penalties. There were two clear penalties that the referee didn't give us. And it's not the first time that referees have stopped us from getting 3 points. And this has to stop. This has to stop because referees are costing us so many points this season. And I'm not here trying to be delusional complaining about referees and kind of blaming the referees for the only little reason why we're not getting points anymore. But it is a pattern. I know that we are one of the teams which the referees hate the most. You can tell this. But that does not justify the fact that we have to get penalized every single time. So I'm going to share my few opinions on that in a bit. But obviously, let's start with Ndicka. Because Ndicka could easily, and I mean very easily, as someone who wakes up and reads Roma articles every single day, the first thing I do, I can tell you, and my opinion on it, is that by reading things and reading a lot of different things, my opinion is that after a war, Ndicka could very easily be your second signing of the summer, which would be incredible because buying a player like Ndicka, first of all, you're bringing a big player in that defensive section to put next to Smalling, who's been unreal this season. The second thing which will make you really proud if we do it is because he's one of those players which the manager has been asking since the day he arrived, and therefore buying the player would show appreciation to the manager. Him as a player, I think, obviously, when we speak about Roma, we have to kind of withstand within the realistic parenthesis. Within the realistic brackets, Ndicka is the perfect defender we could sign. Physical, left-footed, and with experience, because it's very important that we add experience in that defensive section, because you look at the amount of points an unexperienced player like Ibanez has cost us this season in big games, and it's unreal. This does not mean that I am 100% selling Ibanez, and as much as getting Ndicka could potentially lead Ibanez's way out to the team, kind of to fuel up that transfer budget, I am not necessarily saying that I want Ibanez out. Now, obviously, when you see me shouting towards Ibanez and say, oh, Ibanez, get him out of the team, obviously I've said this many times, how my mood is very exponentially linked to the performances of this team. So please, if 1 hour after I came back from the stadium and Roma loses 2-0 against Inter Milan, I am fuming and I say, get Ibanez out of the team, that's not me. That's me in a grumpy mood, in a angry mood, rethinking and being a more serious person. Ibanez has world-class potentials. It's just his decision-making and his lack of coordination, which I think is what Ibanez needs to work on. I know a lot of Premier League clubs are interested in Ibanez, and I am also aware that many Premier League clubs are willing to spend quite a lot of money on Ibanez. If we get 30, 35, maybe in our dreams 40 million from Ibanez, which I know is very unlikely, but Roma have made it clear they're not selling Ibanez for lower than 30 million. If we get 35 million, let's say, for Ibanez, that's a lot of money. Like, we could fuel up a lot of our transfer window with just that amount of money added onto the prizes that we get from reaching the semi-finals, potentially a final, and potentially winning the trophy. Added to other selling of players, it's a big figure. You can't really say no to a 35 million offer for Ibanez, regarding of whether he's got world-class potentials or not. So as much as I do think if Ndicka comes in, Ibanez could leave, I also think if we buy Ndicka, we kind of need backup options. And I'll be honest with you, our biggest backup option this season has been Kumbula, and he's been terrible. We need good starting defenders, but we also need good rotational defenders. Because, again, we got to improve that squad depth. It's the most important thing. But yeah, speaking about Ndicka and how we are making big steps towards this is obviously what I was saying at the start. That his agents visited Roma's training ground last week, and Mourinho took a picture with his agents. And it's significant. It's significant because it's definitely a hint. Without a doubt. It's a hint. Without a doubt, it confirms that his agents have met the Roma board and that they are trying to find a solution. Now, I am reading that the only other club interested in Ndicka at the moment is Barcelona. Barcelona just won the league. But I am going to tell you 2 reasons why Ndicka won't join Barcelona. First reason is because we all know what Barcelona's priority is. Barcelona's priority is bringing Leo Messi back to the team. And Fabrizio has confirmed this. Barcelona's owner literally confirmed that yesterday when they won the league. And apparently they are going to bring Messi back to Barcelona. And to bring Messi back to Barcelona, you need a lot of financial efforts. That means that if your biggest priority is bringing Messi back to Barcelona, why would you buy a player like Ndicka? And I know Ndicka's a free agent, but Barcelona have got the best defense in Europe. Araujo, who else plays in defense? Koundé, Christensen, Marcos Alonso have been unreal this season. They've kept so many clean sheets at home this season. They're the best defense in Europe. That's a stat. Why would they kind of saturate their budget in buying a useless player? Because effectively Ndicka's never going to start at Barcelona with the defenders and the prospect that their defenders have. And also, why would they consume money from their budget when their big objective is bringing Lionel Messi back to the team? And they have been told by Javier Tebas, the chairman of La Liga, that they can bring Messi back, but they need financial efforts. And I just don't see it happening. And the second reason why I don't see it happening is because I am reading a few articles which are saying that Ndicka has given too much time to Barcelona and that he's in a hurry to find a new team. His agents meeting Mourinho at Trigoria last week is a crucial turning point in this move. I think it could be the spark of everything. Interesting thing about this picture which the agents took with Mourinho, I think this picture is very symbolic. Also, when it comes to Roma, when it comes to us, it's a very, very, very significant picture, because I think, first of all, Mourinho taking a picture with his agents and this picture effectively going viral around Roma's world truly is putting pressure on the ownership. Because with one picture with his agents, Mourinho is effectively and ultimately telling the ownership, I want him, get me him now. That's the basic of everything. If the manager takes a picture with the agents of a player, which he really, really wants, it puts pressure on the ownership to find a solution to try and figure it out. Second reason why it's a very significant picture is that I think Mourinho with this picture and making this picture a viral picture is sending messages to the ownership in terms of him wanting a more powerful job when it comes to the transfer deals. Because with the picture, he's going, well, why are his agents taking a picture with me when I'm not the general director of the team? Because Mourinho is not the one who is responsible for deals. It's Thiago Pinto. So, under the terms of logic, it's Thiago Pinto who should take that picture. And again, I know Mourinho's Mourinho. Everybody wants a picture with Mourinho, but I think it's more than just a snap, if you see what I mean. It's definitely a snap which his agents will probably frame in their room, but it's more than just a snap. It's a purposely made snap. And with this snap, Mourinho is going, I want more power when it comes to the inner self of Roma, when it comes to buying players, communicating with agents and all of that. And I think that's something which Mourinho has to have. Because I think he's really good at it, and we've seen it this summer. He obviously attracts big players. And I think if you've got him and Thiago Pinto working together, I think we can expect good signings this summer. But that's kind of my opinion on this. I think the picture is a very significant thing. And Ndicka seems the top player, 23 years old. This is the kind of signing that Roma and Jose need. So yeah, that's kind of the conclusion on Ndicka. I personally think, right now, I'm gonna give it actually a high percentage of seeing Ndicka wear a Roma shirt next season. I'm gonna give it a 60% chance that Ndicka is gonna sign. I don't know. I feel like the ownership is working behind the scenes, and they normally do work behind the scenes. And there were also some speculations that Ndicka had medical checkups in Austria in a clinic which the Fredkins are loyal to. It's the same clinic where Zaniolo got his ACL injury surgery. And apparently there are some speculations, it's not been confirmed, but there are some speculations that Ndicka has been spotted in this clinic. So yeah, I don't know. I think the evolution will come in these next few days. Obviously not this week, because who cares about transfer this week? It's this week can write history when it comes to this club. So there is no need for any component of this team to focus on the transfer window this week. It's one of those weeks which we could remember until the day we die, and it's one of those weeks which could also take a lot of time to see it happen again. It's a historic week. Obviously, Thursday is the big day. And yeah, again, I wanna mention something about these referees, because these referees I've had enough of these referees. These referees have cost us too many points. The referee yesterday was the same referee that refereed the Roma Milan game, which ended 1-1. And don't get me wrong, Ibanez could have had a red card in that game, but you look at the goals Saelemaekers scored, and Ndicka completely and utterly pushed Ibanez. And that was one of the reasons why we lost 3 points. Had we won that game, we would be in the Champions League right now, via the league. Yesterday, 2 neglected penalties. If we had 3 points yesterday, we'd be in the Champions League next season. I've had enough of this. I have had enough of this. Because, yes, referees hate Mourinho, and we've understood this, but that is not a justification to penalise this team. If you've got problems with Mourinho, you speak to Mourinho. If you've got problems to Mourinho, referees hate Mourinho, but that is not a good reasoning of why we, the team, the players, the fans, have to be punished by this. Why? If you've got problems with the manager, if the manager is complaining too much, that's a you problem. You speak with him. What have the players got to do with this? So the referees hating on Mourinho is causing so many problems. And look, I'm gonna say it as Mourinho's lover, and if you haven't understood this, I think you have. You have to. As a Roma fan, many times Mourinho exaggerates, without a doubt. You know, when he brought the microphone, the hidden microphone on the bench against Monza, that's obviously something which you can't do. But it doesn't take time. It doesn't take much time, and especially it doesn't take a genius to call a meeting, sit down, speak, and relax. That's the problem right now. That is the problem. We have been penalised far too many times this season, and it's costing us too many points. Which, had we had all of these points, we would be in a completely different position right now in the league. And especially, we wouldn't have to risk our Europa League campaign too much. You gotta risk in life. You gotta gamble in life. But I'm all for going Europa League all in right now. Even though getting a Champions League football via the league, I'm not completely shutting it down as an option, because I still think it's possible. If we win all of our 3 remaining games, and Juventus and Milan draw that game, their game, I think we have big chances. But yeah, I don't know. Again, another reason, another thing. Another thing is, you know, the Europa League game, right? We are coming from 2 Europa League games, the Bayer Leverkusen one and the Feyenoord one. The Feyenoord game was refereed by Anthony Taylor, and the Bayer Leverkusen game was refereed by Michael Oliver. Anthony Taylor cost Mourinho a fine of I don't know how many grands when he was back in the Premier League. Michael Oliver is the referee who has had the most problems with Mourinho when he was in the Premier League. And I'm speaking in a UEFA point of view here, in a UEFA perspective. Out of 20, how many referees are there? There have to be thousands of referees. Out of 1,000 referees you can pick from, why on earth the game with Mourinho has to be refereed by the two referees he had the most problems with back in England? Again, I feel like Roma's being targeted here. I feel like our behavior with referees is being punished. And look, we've been lucky that the result against Anthony Taylor has been great, and we've been lucky that in the first leg in the semi-final, the referee hasn't been too bad against us. But again, that's UEFA point of view. If we speak about Serie A point of view, Orsato refereed the Milan game, had tremendous problems because the Milan goal had to be ruled out. Ibanez could have had a red card. He was a terrible referee for that game. 2 weeks after that game, what does the Serie A do? They recall the same referee to referee your game. What is the logic behind that? What is the logic behind? Stop insisting. Stop insisting. And I know not every referee hates Mourinho, and I know that we can't choose which referee to choose from, right? Sometimes we just have to deal with it. But one thing is if it happens once, and another thing is if this refereeing problem has cost us too many points this season. Without these bullshit referees, we would be in a Champions League space right now. Champions League spot. Yeah, you know, look, we have problems with referees, and I think in this summer, during the preseason, we have to hire some referees to speak about the rules, speak about what we can do and what they can do, and what we can't do and what they can't do, what the limits of everything are, because we cannot enter another season having so many problems with referees. It just cannot happen, because they have cost us too many points this season, and we have caused them too many problems when it comes to creating a sense of confusion. Let's sit down, let's hire somebody to explain the rules to everyone, and let's start next season with a peaceful mind. And not us not complaining every game, and them not penalising us and justifying our penalisation just because they hate Mourinho. Because life is tough. You don't like everyone in life. There are probably a lot of people here which don't like me. If you like me, I like you. If you don't like me, there's nothing I can do about it. You know, you don't like everyone in life. Life is made like that. You like people and you hate people. It's completely normal. So, yeah, we have to deal with it because we know that not every referee likes Mourinho, but the referees also have to deal with it. They know Mourinho really well now. He complains. That's who he is. And I know he can't do the majority of things he does, but they are finding pretexts to penalize us, and that is wrong because it's not a good justification. Right, let me read some comments and then I'll end the stream. Simo, if we make the final and everyone is 100% healthy, besides Karsdorp and Kumbula, who's your starting 11? It's not easy. Smalling, Matic must start between Gini and Brian. Look, I'll be very honest with you. Very, very, very honest with you. I love that question, but I want to focus on Bayer Leverkusen first. Then all of my attention will go on that final. Right now, before even reaching that final, I would start Cristante over Gini because Cristante has been incredible this season, and I think he has improved the communication with a lot of players around him. Gini's good, but also obviously a final is a final. You got to defend yourself in a final. You got to score, and obviously Cristante brings that. Oh, it depends who we play against too. I don't know. It's one of those questions which I want to avoid right now, but we'll definitely come up to it if we reach that final. Oh my god, this Thursday can be historic, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not ready for it. This Thursday can write history. We can write history this Thursday. Simo, have you seen Becker at Union Berlin? He would be a great striker to have for Tammy. Also Chelsea youth, Vale, Hall and Datro. Fofana would be good to raid. Have to look up to these players. Haven't really looked at them much. If we stick with 3 centre-backs, I'd like Smalling, Mancho and Ndicka. Ibanez and Llorente if we can get a bit of a... Now look, one thing which I will say, if we get Ndicka, I think it's very unlikely that Ibanez stay. If by some miracle we get Ndicka and Ibanez stay, there is no part of me which believes Llorente will get the trigger clause will be triggered, because it's 14 million is a lot for Llorente, and if we get Ndicka and maybe if we keep Ibanez, we don't really need Llorente. Ndicka seems like a top player. We can get cheaper rotational players. For example, we've been linked with Umtiti. Yes, everybody hates on Umtiti because he plays for a club like Lecce. Let's not forget that Umtiti this season has been one of the best defenders in the league. He can be a great rotational player on our team, and people tend to forget that he was the starting centre-back in 2018's France World Cup. And that was 4 years ago. So I think, for example, I would proudly say right now, that if we get Umtiti as a rotational defender, I would absolutely love it. Roma, Jose, if he ends up hurting this club by creating so many enemies, his coaching ability is irrelevant. He'll end up hurting us more than helping us. You think a coach as experienced as Jose wouldn't know to not make enemies with every referee? Yeah. But that's kind of what Jose is. The second Jose got announced, I expected that. That's why, to be fair, Jose is so that's kind of who characterizes Mourinho. Complaining, having comeback statements during press conferences. That's who Jose is. So obviously that's who he is, and we can't change that. We need foreign refs next season. Sei italiano, sì. How are you, Simon? Nice to meet you. Hello, mate. How are you? I never see any coach hated by refs like Mourinho, but honest, Jose's honest coach. They tried to destroy his good work, says Bernard. Right, I'm gonna catch you tomorrow. It's the first episode of history. Match preview tomorrow. If you haven't already, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Do it down below, because all you have to do, starting from tonight even, is to prepare for Thursday. Because as I said for the 20th time during this live stream, we can write history on Thursday. So yeah, match preview tomorrow. Smash the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you very, very soon. Simon out.